Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a super delicious recipe to share with you today. Now, it's not the easiest recipe, but I will walk you through it the best that I can. The first thing you want to do is make some pizza dough or bread dough. I have a tutorial on my channel. It is linked down in the description box below. You're going to let that rise. I've got some beautiful oils that I have put on top of that dough so that it doesn't dry out. And in the meantime, we are going to work on the rest of this recipe. I've got about 1.5 pounds of steak sirloin, and I'm going to slice it up into nice thin slices, and then we're going to put that into a separate dish because we want to marinate it for a few hours. I'm going to just sprinkle some salt on it and then balsamic vinegar. You want to put quite a bit of it on. You want to coat all of the meat, and then I'm just going to mix it up with a bit of olive oil. This is by Amphora. They have a delicious selection of olive oils, and I'm just going to let this all sit together and marinate. I'm just going to mix it all up so that everything is nicely coated. Going to cover that, and then we're going to put that in the refrigerator for several hours while our dough rises. All right, so also in the meantime, I'm going to start on the tomatoes. I've got 3 large vine-ripe tomatoes that I'm going to slice in fairly thick slices. The thicker they are, the longer it will take to cook, but the better results you will have. Next, I'm going to put that onto my baking tray, but I recommend using parchment paper first because they were a little bit difficult to get off in the end. And then I'm going to drizzle it with some of that Amphora olive oil, which tastes amazing. All right, so I'm going to pop this into the oven. I am broiling this, so it's 550 degrees, and I'm going to keep a close watch on it. I start with 2 minutes, which is not even enough time. It took more like 20 minutes, but you want to pay attention because you can see that around the edges of some of those, they actually got overcooked and burnt. So a few minutes less would have been better. Next, we're going to work on the meat. So it's been a few hours now, and the meat has marinated. So again, with that beautiful oil. And now we're going to add that meat to our hot pan. You can see that it's going to sizzle right from the start. And once I get all the meat in there, I'm also going to add the rest of that marinade in there because it is super delicious. So I'm going to let that cook for about 5 minutes. It doesn't take long. And I'm going to reduce the temperature and cover it when it's nearly done because I don't want to overcook it and I'm not quite ready for it. All right, so here comes this sort of fun but semi-challenging part. We're going to roll out the base of this recipe, which is going to be with our pizza dough. So I don't usually do this when I'm making pizza. So this is more time consuming and really sticky and messy, but it was great fun to do. So I'm showing you 2 methods here. I'm just going to use my hands just to kind of spread it around and just try to get it nice and round and flat. This took a long time and it wasn't as easy as the next method I'm going to show you, but it does give for a thicker Piadine base. But first I've got one more that I'm making. These are for my 2 children who don't want any toppings on their Caprese Piadines. So I'm going to pop them in the oven for about 10 minutes at 475 degrees. 10 minutes was a slight bit too long. I'm going to show you what it looks like in the end. But now I'm going to actually use my rolling pin to roll out the next one. And this worked a little bit better. It gave me a thinner dough, which is a little bit better for this particular recipe because we're going to be folding in all of our ingredients into our bread. I'm also going to top it with some pesto. This is store-bought pesto from Trader Joe's, but you could certainly make your own. And now I'm going to put that in the oven as well for about 8 to 10 minutes. All right, so let's check it out. After about 10 minutes, you can see that the 2 that I made by hand were a little bit overcooked, and that last one needed a few more minutes, the one with the pesto. But you can see how gorgeous it looks now, and all the edges are nice and cooked, and the top is just sizzling and perfect. All right, so we've got some mozzarella balls here that I'm going to cut up, and we also have some romaine lettuce on the side. And now it's time to assemble everything. So I'm going to take that base and put it onto a plate along with that mozzarella cheese and those oven roasted tomatoes. We've got the romaine lettuce, and then we have the meat. It is a super delicious recipe that is inspired by a restaurant that we really love to go to. and you can find more information about the original recipe down in the description box below. That's enough for 2 people, folks, because that is a huge sandwich. It is super delicious. I highly encourage you to try it out. It tastes really similar to the one from our favorite restaurant, and so it looks like we might just be making it at home from now on. All right, if you want to check out some of my other food tutorials, you can tap on the screen right now. For more information about the recipe, you can check the description box below. And if you want to see what we're eating on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.